forsaken patch of earth is like no other, a circle of barren ground where no tree, no grass, nor even the faintest weed will grow. Locals fear it, and with good reason. It is said that the devil himself walks here, leaving behind a desolate trail where nothing will grow. Night after night, the ground remains eerily still, but the legends tell a different story. Those brave or foolish enough to camp nearby often report strange, unexplainable events, whispered voices that chill the blood, footsteps in the darkness that echo too close for comfort, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Some claim that if you try to sleep in the circle, you'll awaken to find your belongings scattered, your camp destroyed, yet no one will be in sight. A far more terrifying tale is that those who wander too close after dark vanish without a trace. The trees seem to whisper of a dark pact, a forgotten ritual that keeps the devil's footsteps forever carved into the earth. The tramping ground isn't just a place. There's a number that no one should ever call. 99999. It's a forbidden sequence, whispered about in hushed tones, known only to those who dare to seek the unimaginable. The legend goes like this. If you dial the number after midnight, you'll hear a voice on the other end, soft and chilling, offering you anything you desire. A wish, a secret, a moment of power. But nothing comes without a cost. For every wish granted, a price is paid in blood. The moment you utter your request, you seal your fate. The voice will ask for nothing except your life. And when the sun rises, you will be gone, swallowed by an unseen force. The urban legend has spread like wildfire, horrifying those who hear it. Some say it's just a story. Others swear they've felt the cold grip of death after making the call. And in 2002, the legend was brought to the screen in the horrifying film 99999. It's a tale that lingers mist-shrouded waters of the Platte River, there drifts a ship that should not exist, a ghostly vessel known as the Death Ship, first sighted in the mid-1800s. This eerie apparition has haunted the stretch between Alcova and Torrington, Wyoming, ever since. The ship, unnaturally gray and spectral, glides silently across the river's surface, its sails billowing in the windless air, as though propelled by something far more sinister than the breeze. But it's the crew that truly chills the soul. The sailors aboard the Death Ship are no men at all. They are phantoms, pale, hollow-eyed figures who stand motionless on deck, their faces twisted in eternal suffering. They move with an unnatural jerking motion, as though bound by some cruel force that will never allow them peace. No one has ever heard them speak, nor seen them react to the world around them. They simply drift, forever trapped on their cursed vessel. Locals speak of the ship's appearance as a death omen. Those who have witnessed it often report a sense of overwhelming dread, as if the ship is drawing them closer to the grave. Some claim that if you stare too long at the ghostly ship, it will come for you, its crew reaching out, cold hands grasping for your soul. Many who have ventured near the river never return, their fates lost to the Death Ship's eternal voyage. Once you see it, you may never leave the river alive. The tragic death of James Dean in 1955 left behind more than just a mournful legacy. It unleashed a malevolent curse tied to his iconic Porsche 550 Spider, nicknamed Metal Bastard. The car, which Dean was driving when he met his untimely death, became the focus of a chilling urban legend. sold and resold, was involved in a series of deadly accidents, claiming the lives of those who came too close. In 1959, the car mysteriously vanished from a garage in Los Angeles, further adding to its legend. Some believe it disappeared entirely, as though it had been swallowed by the earth, or worse, taken by a force that would never let it rest. The little bastard seemed to be a malevolent entity, a dark force that claimed anyone unfortunate enough to come into contact with it. The story of the cursed Porsche lives on, a reminder that some tragedies do not simply fade with time. They become warnings, lingering in the shadows, waiting to claim the next victim. If you ever encounter Little Bastard, don't touch it. The curse is waiting. In the quiet, forgotten corners of graveyards across the United States, there exists a chilling relic of the past. A funerary monument known as the Devil's Chair. This eerie, haunting sculpture, often a stone chair or bench, was carved as a memorial in the 19th century, but its true purpose has always been shrouded in dark mystery. Legend has it that if you sit in the Devil's Chair, you will be visited by a malevolent force. Some say it's the spirit of the person memorialized. Others believe it is something far darker, an embodiment of pure evil, lurking in the shadows. Those foolish enough to sit in the chair claim to feel an overwhelming sense of dread, as though the very air around them thickens, suffocating them with terror. Others have reported seeing dark figures lurking nearby, their voices that seem to speak of curses, of death. But the most terrifying claim is that if you sit in the chair long enough, you may never leave. Some say those who sit too long vanish, their bodies never found, as if claimed by the spirit of the chair itself. The devil's chair remain, a haunting reminder that some places, some objects hold a power so dark and dangerous they should never be touched, not by the living, not by anyone. For 86 long years, the Boston Red Sox were plagued by a curse so dark it seemed to haunt every game, every season, and every hopeful fan. It was called the Curse of the Bambino, and it began with a single fateful act. In 1918, the Red Sox sold their star player, Babe Ruth, to the New York Yankees. The moment he left, a shadow descended over the team, one that would stretch across nearly a century of heartbreak and despair. From that day forward, the Red Sox were cursed. Every time they came close to victory, something insidious would strike. An error, a missed chance, a call gone wrong. The ballpark grew thick with a sense of dread, as if the very air was saturated with the weight of a vengeful spirit. Fans would watch in agony as their team faltered, and whispers of the Bambino's ghost, restless and furious, swirled through the stands. For 86 years, the curse thrived. It tore through the hopes of generations, mocking the team with every failed attempt to win the World Series. Some believed the curse was a punishment, others a malicious joke, but all felt its grip, cold and relentless. Then, in 2004, the impossible happened. The curse was broken, but not without the lingering memory of its chilling presence. Even today, when the Red Sox play, a whisper lingers in the air, a reminder of the cursed years, when victory seemed forever out of reach. In the desolate, windswept landscape of Escalante, disturb the long-dead remnants of a forgotten world. It is said that if you take even a single shard of petrified wood from the park, you will unleash a chain of misfortune so vile it will haunt you for life. The curse of Escalante is not one to be taken lightly. Those who have taken the petrified wood, some with the best of intentions, have returned home to a life shattered by calamity, job losses, sickness, car accidents. These are the least of the horrors that befall those who steal from the ancient forest. Many have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread the moment they lay a hand on the wood, as if something unseen but terribly powerful is watching, waiting. As the legend goes, the spirits of the forest, the souls of those who once walked the earth, guard the petrified trees with an unrelenting fury. They have cursed the land, and anyone who dares to desecrate it will suffer until the stolen wood is returned. Those who ignore the warning find themselves spiraling into a nightmare of misfortune and despair. The air is thick with tension in Escalante, and if you ever find yourself there, beware. Touch the wood, and the curse will find you slowly, surely, and with no mercy. In the quiet, forgotten corners of Bucksport Cemetery in Maine, there stands a monument that chills the bones of those who dare to look too closely. It is the memorial of Jonathan Buck, a man whose legacy was marred by a dark and vengeful curse. The obelisk, weathered and crumbling with age, bears an engraving of a woman's foot. Some say it is a stocking-clad foot. Others claim it's a boot. But the image is unmistakable, and it holds a secret so terrifying that it has haunted the town for centuries. Legend has it that Jonathan Buck was once a powerful man, but he wronged a woman, and the price for his cruelty was paid in blood. Some say she was accused of witchcraft and executed, her spirit bound to seek revenge. On his memorial, the cursed engraving of her foot was said to be her final act, a mark left behind by the spirit of the wronged woman, cursing Buck's family ghost is still trying to escape. Others report hearing faint whispers, as if the very ground beneath the obelisk is alive, calling for retribution. The curse lingers, and no one who looks upon the foot can ever escape its terrible grip. Beware, for the cursed memorial of Jonathan Buck watches, waiting to claim the souls of the unwary.
In the fog-laden town of Exeter, Rhode Island, the terrifying tale of Mercy Brown still lingers, casting shadows over history. In the winter of 1892, young Mercy died from a brutal case of tuberculosis, then known as consumption. But even death couldn't silence her story. Not long after her burial, rumours spread like wildfire. Her family too was falling mysteriously ill, wasting away as though something sinister was siphoning the life from them. Driven by fear, townsfolk began to suspect that Mercy was no ordinary victim of disease. They whispered that she had returned from the grave as a vampire, a malevolent spirit consuming her family's life essence from beyond. Desperate to end the curse, they resolved to perform a grim ritual, exhuming her body from the frozen ground. When they opened her coffin, they found her shockingly well preserved, her skin pale but intact, her nails and hair seemingly grown, and her heart still containing fresh blood. Panic gripped them. They believed she was feeding, her undead spirit reaching from the grave. In a macabre attempt to end her hold over the living, they cut out her heart and liver, burning them to ash in a desperate ritual meant to destroy her lingering influence. The ashes were mixed into a tonic and given to her ailing brother, in hopes that drinking it would break the deadly connection Mercy held over him. But some say that Mercy's spirit did not rest after this ritual. Locals claim to see her figure drifting through the cemetery at dusk, her pale face visible in the moonlight, watching silently as if waiting for her next victim. Others report a suffocating chill in the air near her grave, an unnatural cold that wraps around them like icy hands. Even today, Mercy Brown's grave remains, a chilling reminder of superstition and desperation. Visitors say that if you stand near her grave at night, you can feel her presence, an overwhelming sense of sorrow and vengeance, a ghostly whisper from a past that refuses to be buried. Her legend endures as a reminder of how fear and folklore can reach out from the grave, grasping at the living with cold, relentless hands. In the chilling legend of the Buckley family, an old, grainy photograph captures a haunting moment that still terrifies those who see it. The black and white image shows two children, a boy and a girl, standing eerily still, their faces expressionless, eyes empty and dark. But beneath this innocent appearance lies a sinister tale, a Halloween night turned nightmare. According to the legend, the Buckley children were quiet and reserved, hardly ever speaking to anyone but each other. On one Halloween night, however, their mother mysteriously disappeared. Neighbours grew suspicious, noticing that the house remained dark and silent, an unsettling quiet hovering over it. Days later, the truth was discovered in a twisted, horrific scene. Their mother's body, hidden away, with chilling evidence suggesting that the children had murdered her in cold blood. When questioned, the Buckley children claimed they did it for fun, their voices chillingly devoid of remorse. The police could find no rational motive, only a dark emptiness in the children's eyes, a void that seemed to stare right back at them, leaving officers uneasy. It's said that the Buckley children were taken away, their fate unknown, but the photograph remained, a disturbing reminder of that night. Some say that if you look into the children's eyes for too long, you'll feel an inexplicable darkness creeping over you, as though their eerie, hollow stare is reaching out, threatening to pull you into their twisted world. To this day, that haunting image is said to resurface occasionally, appearing in random places, as if the Buckley children are still watching, waiting, perhaps seeking a new victim to haunt. Those who've seen it say the cold, empty stare never leaves them, a terrifying reminder of innocence twisted into something monstrous, lingering just beyond the frame.
In the dark corners of Fairfax County, Virginia, lurks a tale so twisted it leaves a chill, even in the bravest hearts. The legend of the Bunny Man is whispered in hushed tones, a haunting memory of the night he first appeared, a figure in a ragged, filthy rabbit costume, eyes blazing with madness, clutching an axe. It began in 1970, on a cold October night. A young couple parked their car near an old bridge, hoping for a quiet moment alone. Suddenly, they heard a scraping sound, metal dragging against stone, then a bone-chilling voice snarling, "Get off my land." In the dim light, they saw him, the Bunny Man. He lifted his axe high, and with a swift, furious swing, shattered their windshield. Shrieking, the couple sped off, but the image of the crazed man, fur-matted with dirt and blood, etched itself into their minds. Since that night, stories have spread, each one more horrifying than the last. Some say he's the ghost of an escaped asylum patient who hides in the woods, haunting the county in search of revenge. Others claim he's a restless spirit, doomed to stalk the shadows forever, fueled by a rage he can't control. They say that if you dare to visit the bridge at midnight, you might hear the sound of his axe scraping the ground, his ghostly form lingering in the shadows, waiting for another soul to claim. People swear they've seen him, his silhouette under the moonlight, his eyes gleaming from the depths of the forest. And one thing is certain. Once you see the bunny man, you'll never forget the sight of his axe, the echo of his growl, or the terror that will haunt your dreams.
In the shadowed alleys of Greenock, Scotland, lurks a figure known only as the Catman, a creature half hidden in mystery and spine-chilling whispers. Since the 1970s, stories of this eerie figure have crept through the town, haunting those who hear them. They say he moves like a ghost, a filthy, gaunt figure with wild eyes that gleam with something both human and unearthly. His hands, calloused and dirt-streaked, reach out to catch his prey, rats, which he devours with chilling primal hunger, blood staining his fingers and lips. But it's not only his taste for rats that stirs terror. The legend claims he lives among wild cats, moving silently alongside them as though he were one of their own. The cats accept him, even protect him, slinking through the shadows as his ghostly guardians. Locals swear that on quiet nights, you can see him crouched low, his face barely visible in the dim light, with wild cats prowling around him in a tight, watchful circle. Rumors say that if you lock eyes with the Catman, you'll feel an unnatural chill, as if he's peering into your soul. Some claim he was once a normal man, driven mad and feral by a life of solitude, or perhaps a restless spirit bound to Greenock streets. Many who have dared to approach him in those dark alleyways have quickly turned back, too shaken by his hollow gaze, feeling the weight of something ancient and unbroken. To this day, people pass the alleys of Greenock with hushed steps, casting wary glances into the darkness, knowing the Catman might be watching, his eyes glinting in the